Well, good evening, folks. We're going to do an oil change this evening on the 1999 Mercedes ML320. You saw me do another video when I changed the horns, but I'm due for my annual oil change. The oil I use and the filter I use, given the mileage I drive, I only have to do this once a year, so that's good. The recommended filter is a Mann Hummel filter, or Man filter, whatever. Mann Hummel. I guess it's from Germany. Yes, it's made in Germany. So it's, and this is the model number for the particular vehicle I have. The recommended oil is this stuff. Mobil Full Synthetic, Mobil 1 Full Synthetic European Car Formula 0W40. So that's what I'm going to put in here too. And it actually takes, this engine actually takes 8.5 quarts, which is an awful lot for a 6-cylinder engine, but it's just the way it's designed. So this is a relatively simple oil change compared to some vehicles. I'll show you in just a second, but the oil plug is right in the front. You don't have to raise the car up on a lift or a jack or whatever to get underneath it to get it draining. You can get it right from the front. And also the oil filter isn't underneath. That's a little different from most cars. Let me show you here really quickly where the filter is. And I know I'm just piling this stuff here. This is the filler cap where you put the oil into the engine. This is actually the filter right here. Maybe I need to put some more light on it so you can see it a little better. And I'll show you when I pull it off, but it is a little different than your typical. There it is, you can see it now. Yeah, it's just right there. All I have to do is take that off with my oil filter wrench. Now this cap on here is plastic, so I don't want to bear down too hard on it that I break it, but it comes off relatively easy, and then I'll show you how you change the oil filter. Again, it's a little different than the typical one where it's underneath and it's a spin-on filter, etc. So, but I'll show you how that works. So the other thing that I'm going to be doing here is this, I know I'm trying to work lights here because I'm working at night. This plastic cowling over the engine, I'm going to pop that off so I can get at these caps a little easier. I could probably do it without doing it, but it makes it easier if you do it that way. It's just three clips that hold it in place, so it's easy to take off and to put back on when you're done. So let me pause right here and I'll crawl underneath and show you where the filler plug is and what we need to do with that. Okay, now I'm just right underneath the front of the car here, and you can see right in the center of the screen, that's the filler plug for the oil pan. 13mm wrench, no problem. Now there's one thing that I do have to do to be careful. If you see these hoses here, I forget what they go to, but at any rate, you have to be careful that you don't get oil on them when it's draining out, because you don't want to corrode them and have them wear. The rubber and the oil just doesn't seem to work. So what I'll do is I will wrap these with just a plastic bag of some kind, just enough so that if any should splash on there, it'll get on the bag rather than on them. So that's just the one thing I was advised to do with doing an oil change on this, is just to be careful with not getting the oil on these hoses. But other than that, it's right here under the front. I can just reach in fairly easily. Might have to go to my socket instead of my wrench that I have here. I gotta see, can't remember what I did, it's been a year, but it's 13mm, I know that. So we'll get this draining. The other thing that they recommend to make sure that this drains fully is just jack up the right hand side, right front of the vehicle here, just so it tips the oil pan a little more so you get it all out. So I'll be doing that too. So I'll come back to you when we're in progress. Well, let's try that again. I don't know what was going on there, but the camera wanted to cut out on me. I'll put more light a little closer to the situation here. Okay, so This is the old oil filter there, you can see, and it's on a plastic stem, and it actually has, I believe, 4 O-rings. One on the tip, one up about an inch, one about there, and then there's one on the very top. So as you can see, the filter is filthy. It's time to change it. I will pull this off and put the new O-rings on. Basically what I do is I do the O-rings first, starting with the biggest to smallest, starting there at the top and working my way down, and then slide the filter on after. So let me stick this back down in here for a second till I get that, and then we'll come back to you with the next step. Okay, there's the old filter. You can see how black that is, and all the old O-rings that came off. I just used my needle nose to pull them off, and as you can see, they always give you an extra one. I'm not sure why. Maybe variant models have an extra one, I don't know, but this one doesn't. So, and that doesn't want to come out. Here, I'll just show you it this way. You can see the new filter compared to the old, and you can see the O-rings are in place. The big one down there, number 2 there, number 3 there, and number 4 down in the tip. So this is all ready to stick back into the car, and this will be good for another year for me. So works well. The thing of it is, with the extra life of the filter and the oil, the cost to do oil changes with this Mercedes really isn't any more than a conventional vehicle, because I don't have to do it as often. This filter is maybe about $15 at an auto parts store. You can get them at Amazon also. And then the European car formula 0W40 oil is 20 to 25 for 5 quarts about. But again, you know, if you were going to do oil changes 3-4 times a year in a conventional vehicle, you'd spend that in oil and filters. So it balances out. It's an investment once a year, but once it's in, it's all ready to go. So we'll get this put back together and we'll show you a finished product. All right, we are ready to refill. As you can see, I put the filter back in place. I have the plug in and everything cleaned up down there. I'm pretty sure it's snug. We'll double check that after. But now all I have to do is get 8.5 quarts of new oil. Oops, this isn't going to work, I'm afraid. Well, maybe it will. I just don't want the thing to come out and get oil spilled everywhere. I'm trying to film this. As I said, this is a 6-cylinder engine. I think it's a 3.2 liter. But this Mercedes design, I don't know why it takes so much extra oil. I'm not a mechanic. I know the engines are high compression. Maybe that has something to do with it, because I have to put premium gas in. I can't use regular gas, but whatever the case, it does take more than a conventional vehicle. So I'm at about 115,000 miles on this car right now, so this SUV right now, so it's still going strong for me. So I'm hoping to get at least double that. Given the amount that I drive every year, that might be another 5 years or so, I don't know, depending on how things hold up. Transmission's still working fine for me, and this particular design that Mercedes has, the transmission is sealed. You can't change transmission fluid, you can't service it, you can't check it. There's no way to check it. It's a sealed system, so I don't know. Again, I'm not that familiar with it to know what that means as far as the longevity of the transmission, but so far it's worked okay. So I'm guessing that they came up with a way to do it so that you don't have to change fluid or so on and so forth. Maybe it's a guaranteed for so many miles, and then they throw the transmission away. I don't know, but at any rate, it's working fine for me. And I'm going to finish filling this. I got 5 quarts in there. I got 3.5 to go, and then I'll come back to you with a final wrap-up. Okay, we seem to be good. No leaks in the bottom there. Engine is running and purring and sounding good. As you can see, we're ready to go. The cowl's back on where it belongs. Everything's good. The oil is full. Now before I wrap up here, I'll check my other fluids just to make sure they're all right. But I think I checked them a little while ago. They should be fine. At some point, I'm going to have to service my K&N air filter that I put in here after I got this vehicle. I'll do another video on that. It's probably due to be cleaned. It's a reusable filter. You don't throw it away, and it gives you better gas mileage and better compression, better power with the engine. So, like I said, I'll do another video on that when I get to doing that, but that's probably about due as well. So, this completes our oil change. Good for another year, unless I drive more miles next year, but we'll see what happens. So, thank you for watching, and please subscribe to our channel.